Good evening. Another beautiful day in North Las Vegas this evening. North Las Vegas City Council welcomes you to a City Council meeting. There are two public forums, one set aside for public comment, one at the beginning of the meeting and one at the end. If you wish to speak, please complete one of the blue cards on the handrail over here, and there's a table out at the main entrance, and then give those to the city clerk who sits right here, and then she will pass them up to the Mayor Pro Tem, who will then pass them to me. When I call upon you, we ask that we request that you limit your comments no more than 3 minutes and that we avoid repetition. Madam City Clerk, are we in compliance with the Nevada Open Meeting Law?
Mayor, yes, we are in compliance.
Thank you. Tonight we have the opportunity to have an invocation given by one of our very own Officer Jay Simpson, who will offer us a prayer. And is Mr. Stevens here by any chance? He might be running late. Okay, Officer, if you wouldn't mind. And following that, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance as led by Famu Abdullahi, and she's with the, what school is that? Core Academy, and the whole row over there is those good students, so please rise.
Our dear Father in heaven, we're thankful for this opportunity to meet together as a city council and the residents of North Las Vegas and to discuss the needs of this community. We're thankful for our freedoms that we have. We're thankful for those who protect us and for our health and our strength. We ask Thee to be with us during this time, that we will be respectful of one another, that we will discuss those needs pertaining to this community, that the needs might be solved and that concerns might be given. We love Thee and thank Thee for all that we have, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
May I please have everybody join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Famu, thank you very much. And Officer Simpson, thank you so much too. We appreciate that.
Yes.
Moving on to presentations and proclamations. Tonight we will say farewell to our Public Works Director, Jennifer Duty, and present a proclamation recognizing National Infrastructure Week. We plan to present a farewell plaque to Police Chief Alex Perez, but he's in Washington, D.C., in honor of National Police Week 2018. Council, let us go down for the presentation.
On? Yep, okay. So Jennifer Duty is our Public Works Director, who is going to be returning back home to St. Louis Cardinal country. I'm a little jealous on that, but they're not doing so hot right now. So we want to thank her for her work. This plaque says in recognition of your distinguished public service and dedication to the city of North Las Vegas. Anyone that's interacted with Jennifer knows that she is a very intelligent. She is a bright light. She's someone that we just love having her around. We were hiking, kind of a funny story. A few years ago, there was a group of us that went hiking, and I had my then 10-year-old son. And as we're a little bit further along, because Jennifer's dog was, I don't want to say having issues, but he had little mittens on his feet. Hiking boots. He had hiking boots to not injure his paws. Delicate flower. So they were a little bit behind us, and we were further up, and my son goes, "What's that sound?" and we were sitting there waiting for them to catch up, and I listened, and I knew right away it was Jennifer's laugh. And those that know her, she has this distinct laugh that lights up a room. It's great. And my son goes, I think it's a dodo bird. And I said, no, that's a duty. That's what that is. So we love Jennifer. We are going to miss Jennifer. I know her brother and sister are excited to have her back. Maybe not so much her brother because he's been tasked with cleaning off her driveway after it snows. And mowing her grass. But we're going to miss her. We love her, and we're thankful for her service to the city at such a critical time to have her intelligence in that department leading the city forward. So we're thankful for her and for her service to the city.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Actually, it's kind of, she's one of our top people. She's one of our directors. High level of official here in the city. But just because she's a high level director, she's not the kind of person who isn't actually willing to go ahead and roll up her sleeves and work. Just to show you the kind of person that she is, I had one of my constituents who had a little bit of a flooding issue in front of her house. Instead of sending someone to go take care of it, she actually went out there, not once, but a couple of times. I know because I actually saw her out there in the front yard with my resident, and the resident, she was very patient with her and, took the time to go ahead and give that kind of customer service. Those are the kind of people that we have working for the city of North Las Vegas. I think that's what makes our city way apart from any other municipality here. With all respect to our friends here in the other municipalities. And again, I said it before in the presentation, we might be a city of almost 250,000 people. We're still like a small town around here. And I want to thank you so very much for being that person that our residents can turn to. And you will definitely be missed. Thank you so very much.
Let me just be brief and echo what our city manager said and my councilman here. Friend, it's been a pleasure working with you. You definitely do light up the room. Your laugh, your sense of humor. Well, you see, you're starting already. Yeah. But, it will truly be our loss over here. But I also know the bright side to it is that you'll be a heck of a lot closer to Ted Drew's over there. Which, you understand that your leaving requires you now to occasionally mail some ice cream back in some fashion or another. That will happen. Thank you again for all that you do for us.
Jennifer, I just want to thank you. When Isaac and I and Pam was already in the council at the time, when we were in the worst throes of what we'll call the Great Recession, all we had was some opportunities here. And I said, we've got to work our way out of this. We called the recession over right now and started to work. We changed what we were doing on the first floor permits. We talked about all the great things that we could do, but we needed to have some leadership. Now, I don't know if you know what a public works director does. Your curbs, your sidewalks, your asphalt on your streets, the lights that come on, all the wires underneath the ground, the fire hydrants, all the pipes underneath the ground, everything. Jennifer is responsible. This young woman took this huge opportunity. So when you look at Apex in the future, you look at where I-15 and 215 intersect, you look at every single road in this area, she has been responsible for the growth of this city. And so we are so appreciative of it to be such a young woman that took on so much responsibility. Today we're successful because of your leadership and your department, and your team exemplifies the quality person you are. So I personally want to tell you, I think you're going to get tired of it back there, and you will always have a place in our heart and an opportunity to work in North Las Vegas. Okay, Mr. City Manager, she's got a job whenever she needs one back. So thank you very much, Jennifer.
I'd just like to echo what my colleague said. I do not like goodbyes, but I just want to say thank you. Like Councilman Marone said, if there's an issue, you are there, boots to the ground. You'll say, nope, let me go check it out. So you personally do that for all of us. I totally appreciate that. Your wisdom, you are extremely intelligent. I love your humor and your laugh. I'm going to miss you. It's been such a great pleasure knowing you and working with you. And thanks for helping to create this great city that we live in.
So Jennifer is an incredible talent and a wonderful person, and I'm not going to complain that you're leaving. I'll just say we're grateful for the time that we had you here. And really the key question is, Duty Drive or Jennifer Place?
I think Jennifer is better.
Okay, we're going to name a street after her. Duty Drive or Jennifer Place?
I'm sure nobody would want to live on the other one. Well, you know, I've been here for 17 years, and it's been a pleasure. It's been the greatest honor of my life to be able to serve North Las Vegas. The councilman made me cry. But, you know, you're only as good as the team that you're surrounded by. And I have to say, we've got amazing elected officials that support us all the time. I've got amazing directors that I've gotten the opportunity to work with and learn from. They've taught me so many lessons. Some of them probably were a little bit harder than others to learn, but I still was able to learn them and grow from them. And then my public works team. I mean, top to bottom, the best people, well, I'm a little biased, but the best people in this city that you could have ever really work for. They're boots on the ground, they're hard workers, they come in, they do their job, they don't complain, they do their job and maybe a little bit of somebody else's job too. But they get it done and they all work together as a team, and it's been an amazing opportunity, and thank you guys for giving that to me. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, these work. I'd like to present a proclamation. And I'm just going to read the proclamation. It is for Monica Bertaki with RTC Government Affairs. Okay. So, whereas the week of May 14th through 21st, 2018 is observed in North Las Vegas, Nevada, and nationally as Infrastructure Week, and whereas Southern Nevada relies on critical transportation infrastructure, including our roads and transit systems, and our connectivity to the regional, national, and global economy, and whereas the infrastructure embraces our local and regional economy, our quality of life, our safety, and our strong of our communities, and whereas to grow our economy, keep our residents safe, and strengthen our communities, we need all levels of government and the private sector to work together to build and maintain our nation's infrastructure. And whereas National Infrastructure Week 2018 has been established to highlight infrastructure investment needs and to recognize and encourage leadership at the federal, state, and local levels, whereas in conjunction with the National Infrastructure Week, our Valley celebrates Seeing Orange as a regional collaborative effort among all the local entities to provide timely information on roadway construction projects. And whereas Seeing Orange serves as a community resource, we celebrate our Valley's infrastructure and the collaborative campaign to educate our residents. Now, we for the City Council of the City of North Las Vegas do hereby proclaim the week of May 14th through the 21st, 2018 as National Infrastructure Week in North Las Vegas and declare transportation infrastructure essentials for the mobility of our residents and economic prosperity of our community. We ask our citizens to join us in this special observance with appropriate events and commemoratives. Come on. I don't have room for that. It's okay. So I'm going to present this to Jennifer.
No, this is infrastructure.
Okay. Yes. I don't know. I think so. Come on up.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I'm Joe Damiani with the RTC of Southern Nevada, and we really want to thank the city council as well as the Public Works Department, and because your support of all the initiatives helps us get the funding that we get through with the FRI indexing and the infrastructure funding that we get, that we distribute out to the Public Works departments. And Jennifer's group does do a fabulous job. And you know, I'd like to take the time to thank Jennifer, too. I think I've been dealing with Jennifer for maybe all of her 17 years since she's been in North Las Vegas in some capacity or another. And she's been great to work with, and she will be a big loss. But in any event, we want to thank you, and we want you to help us commemorate Infrastructure Week by everybody signing this cone that's been passed around through all of Southern Nevada throughout this week. And, you know, and while you sign it, you know, there's also the Seeing Orange campaign. You know, with the FRI funds that were approved, you know, there's more and more infrastructure being done. And so we created the collaboration to put the Seeing Orange campaign up there for people who have issues that want to be able to see what's going on. They can call that hotline or log into the website and ask a question, and we will find out the answers for you and get back to you.
Sure. I happen to be on the Regional Transportation Commission board, and there's a lot of people who get tired of seeing orange cones, but that just proves that your tax dollars are being applied in your community. So if you're able to see those cones, just don't object too long. Just go around and do what you're supposed to, because it's anywhere between 3 and 6 months from now, your travel is going to be a lot better. But your money that comes in North Las Vegas goes back into the roads in North Las Vegas. So all our north-south roads are pretty good. It's our east and west roads where we have a lot of homes that haven't been built on vacant lots yet. And we always have the developer build up the road in front of his property. So that's called a sawtooth system. But we are filling in those roads very quickly. And so appreciate the orange tax dollars are at work. We sign it?
I can't leave without a picture with you guys in the cone, or otherwise I get in trouble.
Little birdie. And thank you. That's tonight's agenda. You can go home now. It's been a long night already. Not really. Moving on to council items. Councilman Barone.
Thanks, Mayor. Before I begin, I'd like to recognize a lot of the young people here. I'm so terrible. I already forgot the name of the program they're here with, right? That one right there. The Core Academy. There you go. Thank you very much, my dear. Again, I'm a high school teacher. And I'm very gratified to say we saw the wonderful young people that we honored today with the help of some of our city partners here. And every once in a while you'll hear bad things about young people. Sometimes people say not so nice things about young people. It's been my dear experience and my profound experience that young people, of course, the future looks good. The future looks bright with fantastic people like yourselves to help push us forward. I very much am looking forward to all of your talent, all of your energy, and all the things that you're capable of doing. This is your society, too. This is your community, and thank you for being a part of it. I really appreciate it. I want to thank the Daughters of the American Revolution for the invitation to attend their Valley of Fire flag burning ceremony. We were honoring and putting away some flags that need to be retired out in Boulder City at the Veterans Memorial Cemetery out there, and it was a sincere pleasure to be there. A couple weeks ago, on May 5th, we had the first parade in North Las Vegas in over 30 years, and I wanted to thank Fundación Puebla. And very much, I want to definitely say thank you so very much to our city parks and our traffic division that helped make this thing possible. It was kind of rough. There's no one here on city staff that's been around since we've done a parade, and so it was tough putting it together. But my sincere thanks to everybody at parks and again in traffic, the police, our friends at our police volunteers who made it all happen. I didn't see you out there, Mayor Pro Tem, but I saw your friends out there, so thank them as well. And I also want to thank our Deputy City Attorney, Claudia Aguayo, for attending and speaking at the Hispanic Student Union banquet. Again, I'm the advisor for the Hispanic Student Union at Rancho High School, and I gained a new appreciation for the person that we have working for us. Again, we have the most remarkable people working for the city of North Las Vegas, and I hope you have a chance to get to know her as well. She's outstanding, not just because of her size. She's a magnificent, statuesque woman, but the size of her heart that she has, that's really amazing. It's an honor having her work with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good report. Mayor Pro Tem Churchill.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the opportunity the other day to attend a kind of an educational training class for our JAG students that was put on by our fire department at fire headquarters in Station 52. I really have to extend my personal appreciation to our firefighters that participated in that event, showing these students exactly what it really takes to be a firefighter and give them some idea of what's involved and kind of give them a perspective of what they could look forward to if they want to enter a career of public service in that respect. Also, early this morning, the mayor and I had an opportunity to do a quick groundbreaking on North 5th and Regina, very close to where I live. And it was amazing. This company, Ultimate Collision, I remember them at my office a year ago, and they reminded me it was a year ago, too. It seemed only like yesterday. But this is an example of where our city is going. People are wanting to come here, open up their business, make a living here, which, of course, helps all of our residents as far as services and infrastructure, and just is a positive thing for the quality of life for all of our people here. So I just want to thank these businesses, and today, of course, Ultimate Collision for choosing North Las Vegas. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilwoman Goins Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things. This Saturday, the community director of Lupus of Nevada, which is called COLN, which is the Lupus, it's a nonprofit organization here in our city. They are having their annual Lupus Awareness Walk in the community, which will be held at Canyon Springs High School from 6 to 10 p.m. this coming Saturday. And just for more information, you can visit their website, which is called Color So Flu for Lupus, NV.com, or their Facebook page, Colors of Lupus Nevada. And I am going to attend the walk for a little while, so please come and join me. Also, I'd just like to say thank you to the Holy Trinity AME Church. On Saturday, I had the pleasure of speaking at their pre-Mother's Day luncheon, And I'd like to thank them for inviting me and hope I did moms, aunts, grandparents justice on Saturday. And then would the students that are visiting here from Core Academy, would you just stand up for a minute, please? I had the pleasure of touring the Core Academy, which is housed on the campus at West Preparatory Academy, which is on Lake Mead Boulevard, close to Martin Luther King Boulevard. And I was expecting 10 students to be here, but I am so thrilled that I have so many young people here tonight, and the majority of you are juniors in high school, correct? So I've been truly impressed by the question that they've asked when we took them around the 9th floor. Very intelligent questions, and they are just wanting to learn what we do here in the city of North Las Vegas. They are powered by the Rogers Foundation, and it's an in and out of school model, and it focuses on the development and empowerment of Southern Nevada's under-resourced youth. And their approach is based on the philosophy that long-term comprehensive support partnered with a collective impact model will allow young adults they serve to reach their full potential. And I understand that at Core Academy, you guys are called scholars, and we truly see why. They visited with the mayor, they visited with Mr. Juden, and they met all the other council people. So I am so glad that you guys came tonight, and I hope that we are doing something up here that inspires you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councilman Black.
Thank you, Mayor. This past Saturday, I had the opportunity to participate in a Ward 3 park cleanup. We had a fantastic turnout. We had over 30 people come out and help us clean a very unique regional park that we have on the very far north end of North Las Vegas. It's called Willie McCool Regional Park. It's unique in that it is a dedicated remote control airplane park. And we had, I want to thank our partners that came out to help. We had a group of Cub Scouts that painted some park benches and tables that needed help. We had Get Outdoors Nevada, which is a great partner that supports our organization, and Gothic Landscaping came out with a crew of people and sprayed for weeds and did a great job. One thing that was really neat is a van showed up. They found out about our service project on the Get Outdoors Nevada website, and they were an international group visiting Southern Nevada. So people came from Jordan, Nepal, Egypt, South Africa, and Peru just to pull weeds in Ward 3.
Great report. And I'll just add just a little bit. I also had the opportunity and blessing to be with Councilman Barone Saturday at Cinco de Mayo. And we saw the outreach. It was incredible. We had people come from California, everywhere, floats. The women and men just beautiful dressing and stuff, festive dressing. Councilman Barone and I have recognized that Henderson has the St. Patrick's Day Parade. City of Las Vegas has Martin Luther King Parade, and El Dorado. We're going to be the Cinco de Mayo Hispanic Parade area here. We're going to do more with that group, a large organization of people that live here, and we are going to be well known for our Cinco de Mayo in the future. So we've already started planning for next year. It'll be a great event, and we're looking forward to including the city in it a little bit more. Other than that, great reports, and I appreciate you guys for all that you do in your respective wards. Ending that, moving on to public forum. This is a time set aside for comment on posted agenda items. The public forum excludes discussion on public hearing items, which will be heard later separately. So if you want to speak on any item listed under consent agenda, business, or ordinance, final action, now is the time. Madam City Clerk, I have two cards here. Mr. Bob Mercero, would you like to come forward, sir? Is this the time when you want to speak? Okay. And Mr. Bouchard, please come forward. And anyone else that would like to speak on a posted agenda item, this would be your time to come and notify the clerk.
Okay, I'm confused. I would like to speak on the agenda item when it comes up.
City Manager, do you want to answer that?
Sure. So, in regards to the items that are on that have a public hearing this evening, those public comments can be taken at that time. In regard to items that are on the business section, those are items that this is the time where the forum is set aside for comments during those sections.
So moving on, 15 through 17.
Tasting. It's item what?
Items 15 through 17, you can speak when the item comes up. On the other one, if you
item
let us
4.
know your opinion right now on item 4, this would be the time to do it.
Yeah, item 4. I want to know why don't we have a law against alcoholic beverages in city parks, which I think is a good law.
We do not.
Well, we need to develop that. We need to adopt a law. I mean, we got too much alcoholism in this state. We got too much alcoholism in this city. I think we have plenty of places where people consume alcohol. I think we need to keep it out of our parks because kids go to these parks. I don't want kids seeing people drink. I don't want kids to get the idea drinking is okay. I've lost 15 of my friends in the last 20 years to alcoholism. I say no alcohol, no pot, nothing at City Hall except good, wholesome live entertainment, not this rap music that I keep hearing, picnic lunches, that type of thing. We don't need alcohol. We don't need drugs in city parks. I'll go on the record on that one.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Anybody else that'd like to come address the council, this be the time. If not, seeing none, we'll close public hearing. Moving on to the agenda.
Item 1, approve City Council regular meeting agenda of May 16, 2018 for possible action.
Mayor and Council, we have several changes to tonight's agenda. The applicant for item 3 asks that item be continued until the June 20th meeting, and the applicants for item 4 and 25 request that the items be withdrawn. And staff's recommendation is to approve the agenda with these amendments.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments or questions on this item? If not, the chair will take a motion on the amended agenda.
I'd like to move to approve the agenda as amended.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Matters listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and may be approved by a single motion. However, any consent item may be moved to the business portion of the agenda for discussion at the request of any council member.
Mayor and Council, the consent agenda item consists of items 2 through 14, excluding items 3 and 4, which were already voted on, and staff's recommendation is to approve. The consent agenda is amended.
Thank you. Councilor, comments, any questions on to approve the consent agenda as amended? If not, the chair will take a motion.
Move to approve as amended.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved. Moving on to public hearings.
Item 15, consider appeal of the Planning Commission decision to deny T1437 La Madre Manor, appellant Liz Delk, applicant Cavison Homes LLC, for a tentative map to allow a 36-lot single-family residential subdivision for property located at the southeast corner of La Madre Way and Commerce Street, APN 124-34-801-001.
Welcome. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Liz Delk, 1980 Festival Plaza Drive, here on behalf of the applicant. As you guys know, we were here back in April for this same property. We held the tentative map item so we could come back after some revisions and meeting with the neighbors. So I'm just going to quickly go over those changes that we made. So I'll direct you to the overhead. First and foremost, we did add that open space back into the center, so we were able to withdraw that waiver request that we originally had. We've increased the lot sizes along this south property line in order to match up lot for lot with those existing homes. We've also agreed to do single stories on those 10 lots on the south property line. We've done the same with the lot sizes to the north. We've increased the lot sizes so they're 10 to 10 for the existing homes across La Madre as well. Lastly, we've added the 2 10-foot landscape buffers along Commerce, and Conway to comply with staff's request to do that. We met with the neighbors earlier this month to review these revisions. They were happy with the changes. I know Bob's here for this item, I'm hoping. So they've been absolutely great to work with, and we just would like to say thank you for them coming out and working with us. And other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions and appreciate staff's recommendation.
Council, any comments or questions on this presentation at this time? Seeing none, I might ask a question. Director Alfredo, are you satisfied with all this and the changes that were applied to the planning board's denial are now appropriate?
Yes, Mayor. As you know, we talked about this extensively at the last meeting, and they made certain presentations, and they've reiterated those today, and a lot of those comments are incorporated into the plat as well. So we're very satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you. If you'll just step aside for a sec, you might have to answer a question. Ms. Mercero, please come forward.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Bob Mercer, 4836 Crystal Sword Street in North Las Vegas. I wanted to say this was probably a very, very good plan. We went through the whole system the way it should be worked. When we originally saw the first plans and got the first meeting with the neighborhood, there was a lot of concern in the neighborhood, both from our group and surrounding communities. Richard Churchill got in the middle of this thing. The Planning Commission found some of the same concerns and problems that we had and made a recommendation that they deny their initial application, and we totally concurred with that. Went to City Council for it to be overturned, and it was not overturned at City Council. They went along with their Planning Commission, which was great. We went back to the drawing boards. Liz, Jennifer, and even Bob Gronar got involved in the discussion with the various groups. We had 3 community meetings on this thing. The last one was a couple of weeks ago, and everybody came to the conclusion that this is exactly what we wanted in the first place. It was a long ways from where it started out. So everybody contributed this, did the right things, and did it the right way, and we thoroughly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mercer. Appreciate
And
it.
that would include 35 too, because it's just 35 is included in this thing. I mean, you had to have this okay to do the 35. So, okay.
Great, recognized. So I'll let you answer any thoughts that you might have, and then I'm going to close it.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilor, any comments or questions at this time on this presentation?
Mayor, I'll be happy to go ahead and at least if I could follow this from council ago. Make a motion to approve the appeal and the reversal of the Planning Commission decision.
Thank you very much. We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Item is approved.
Thank you.
Item 16, accept public comment regarding the draft 2018-2019 Consolidated Plan and 2018 Action Plan.
Thank you. Director Palmer.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Cass Palmer for the record, Director of Neighborhood and Leisure Services. Tonight, we'd just like to give you a quick high-level overview of the background and the development of our consolidated plan. But as you remember, a couple of years ago, a few scant years ago, City of North Las Vegas was awarded the Choice Neighborhood Initiative Plan grant, at which time that we successfully did that plan. And now we're at the next level with our relationship with the HUD folks. And HUD, with the development of a solid consolidated plan, will provide additional funding or CDBG funding consideration for the City of North Las Vegas with the acceptance of this foregoing plan. But for tonight, under Lorena's direction, we hired BBC Research Consulting out of Denver, who has done a lot of these plans, and with us tonight is our consultant that worked the plan for us, Ms. Maggie Tabar, to give you a quick high-level overview, and then we'll open for questions right after that.
Thank you very much.
So, Ms. Tabar.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I'm here to talk about the consolidated plan for the City of North Las Vegas. So just a quick overview of what I'm going to talk about, just a little background on the consolidated plan, a little bit about the community input we received, the findings from the consolidated plan process, and I'll take any questions at the end. So the City of North Las Vegas is a new HUD-designated entitlement community, and what that means is previously the City of North Las Vegas was a part of the Clark County Consortia, and they've decided to break away just for community development block grants and emergency solution grant funds. So they are still a part of the HOME Consortia, but just for those two funding sources, they have broken away from the county, and that means that they will directly receive those funds from HUD. To receive those funds, the city is required to produce a consolidated plan, an annual action plan, and an analysis of impediments to fair housing choice, or as it's more recently known, the assessment of fair housing. I worked with the city in October of last year to complete their assessment of fair housing, so that has been completed. Normally, those are done in conjunction with the consolidated plan, but because this odd break with the county, they were required to do it before. So this is the second part of that process. So just a little overview about eligible activities that the city can use their CDBG funds for are public services for special needs populations. ESG is also used for public services, but specifically to assist persons experiencing homelessness or who are at risk. You can also use your CDBG funds for reconstruction, so that's home repair, modification, revitalization in targeted neighborhoods, which I'll go into a little bit more detail later, how that's going to affect the city of North Las Vegas. Down payment assistance, construction of community centers, parks, recreation facilities, and constructions of public facilities and improvements. The two less common uses of these funds are employment assistance and code enforcement. And that is because there are regulatory barriers that make these two activities hard to use CDBG funds for. So as of May 1, the city has received their actual allocation for the year. So for CDBG, they've received just over $2 million, and for ESG, just over $160,000. These are slightly different than the anticipated amounts. CDBG was about 10% more, and ESG was just under 1% less. And I won't go through all these past activities, but this just gives you an idea of what the city of North Las Vegas has used their funds for in the past. So again, that's down payment assistance. They've built a community garden, they've done home modifications, neighborhood infrastructure. This gives you an idea of what they might do in the future with these funds. So what's different this year, other than the city breaking off from the county consortium, is that the city of North Las Vegas has designated a neighborhood revitalization strategy area. This encompasses the urban core of North Las Vegas. It consists of the oldest parts of the city. Planning efforts and implementation strategies developed during the Choice Neighborhood Initiative Transformation Plan led to this designation. And the reason why the city has chosen to create this NERSA is that it allows more flexibility in the CDBG funds. So the city of North Las Vegas can now use those funds towards more job creation and retention without those regulatory barriers that I mentioned before. And they can also increase the percentage of funds used towards public services, which is usually capped at 15%. So in the consolidated plan process, community input is very important. Like I mentioned, usually the AFH is done in conjunction with the consolidated plan. So we were able to receive a lot of feedback during the AFH process, and that was particularly from residents. And so we felt the need to get more feedback from stakeholders. So we put together an online survey, and we had 78 respondents, which is pretty high considering we invited 75. So we had a great response rate. We took interviews with stakeholders and city staff for more in-depth information. And then we were able to use stakeholder and resident focus group information through the development of the AFH, as well as community meetings and public hearings. And we received the city received quite a bit of feedback and input during the Choice Neighborhood Transformation Plan that we were able to use to inform the consolidated plan as well. So out of the community engagement, the research, the planned activities for the next 2 years, we identified the highest priority needs for the city, which are to address supportive service needs of homeless and special needs residents, creating community education gathering spaces, to address the needs of at-risk youth, supporting health and nutritional needs of low-income residents, increasing access to job training and placement programs specifically for low-income residents, and to fund social services as needed to address changing economic situations of residents. And from these high priority needs, the city, with our help, developed goals for the next 2 years. The first is to expand and support services for low-income residents, specifically in that Choice Neighborhood NERSA. For program year 18-19, they have designated just over $350,000 for this specific goal. And I just want to note that because the city only knows what their allocation is going to be for that year, this is their 1 year allocation amount. And then the second year, once HUD announces the allocations, they will have that second year amount. But they anticipate those allocations being similar to this year. For this goal, a little over half is going to go towards public services, 30% is going towards capital and neighborhood improvements, and the remaining amount is going towards administration. And some of these projects include community planning and engagement strategies, job training and placement, community Wi-Fi, community garden. So there's lots of great things that are going to be going on in the NRSA. The next goal is to expand and support services for low-income residents throughout the entire city. CDBG funds for program year 18-19 are going to be a little over $300,000, and the ESG funds are going to be a little over $150,000. And again, this is to serve all low-income residents in the community instead of just the NRSA. These activities are going to focus on homeless service programs, social service programs specifically for seniors and those with medical issues, and youth development and education programs. Another one of the goals is to improve and construct public facilities benefiting low and moderate income residents, and this is going to be through the renovation of the North Las Vegas Downtown Library Branch. CDBG funds for program year 18-19 are going to be $1.2 million. This is going to be the renovation of the development asset Canyon Electric Building, and that will be for the new downtown library. The goal of the downtown library is to provide a larger space for residents to ensure greater educational and workforce development resources. And then the final goal is to support all of these activities through the planning administration process. So the remaining amount of CDBG and ESG funds are going to go towards the planning and administration costs associated with all those previous goals. And so I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Councilor. Any questions at this time?
Mayor, I have a question. Thank you for that presentation. With, like, let's say with the reconstruction and rehabilitation of homes in the city of North Las Vegas, we're still under HUD's guidelines. I guess my question is, do we have any say-so in, like, when people apply for funds, can we adjust those amounts? Because I know sometimes complaints I hear is that you have to be pretty much close to homeless before you can qualify for some of these things. So do we have any leverage with that, or is that still set?
You do have some leverage, but there are certain requirements that limit who can apply and the overall funds that are allowed to be given towards those things. But as a city, you do have some flexibility, but again, you're under those CDBG requirements.
And as far as, and I always say this wrong, NRSA, will they be able to assist with application processes for that? Would that be part of that board or that group, just to assist residents with applying, or if
city staff might be able to answer that better than I am.
Well, with the NRSA, we have more flexibility to create programs. The underlying eligibility requirements that HUD imposes, we still have to meet those, but we can create the programs under the NRSA.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question.
Councilman Black.
Yes. The previous cap for social services allocation was 15%. What's the new cap with the NRSA designation?
There is no cap. So
okay.
that's the
so
large benefit of having the NRSA, but you can only use it within that
the 1.25 area square miles. Okay.
Yep, which was designated through the transformation plan. So through that plan, they identified this area that needed extra attention and extra funds. They applied for the NRSA, and through the consolidated plan, that NRSA should be approved by HUD. But the idea is to funnel more funds through that area that needs that extra attention.
Awesome. My other question is, did we realize a larger allocation in CBDG and ESG by being independent of the county, or is that not a benefit?
No, no, it's not a benefit. That just happens to be the federal allocations for the year. So that was across the board. Every entitlement community received 10% more in CDBG funds.
Awesome. Thank you.
Just a small couple questions. So, Lorena, the CAC committee will work as a group to identify where the money should go in the community through Chairman DeBine. Is that right?
It will still continue to be. The allocations for the public services will still continue to go through the CAC.
Okay. And so when the money used to go to the county and they would siphon it over to us, our portion, now it comes directly
to City of
to us. Now, we were talking the other day. I thought the current administration was going to maybe slash this program. We're actually getting more this time, or how did that change?
The federal government, typically what happens is that there's been a decrease in allocation from HUD, but surprisingly this year the allocation actually increased a little bit, like 9%, so as Meji mentioned before, and we were actually a little bit, all the entities were surprised actually that the allocation went up.
Was it because of population, or was it because of a formula that...
It's a formula that they use, but I think that in the last year there's been a lot of fluctuation with the administration trying to eliminate the programs. There was a lot of legislative push, and all the agencies actually gathered together, and we did a lot of radio shows. We did a lot of justifications with our legislators, and we all provided support and demonstrated how these funds are being used so they can see the benefit to the communities.
Okay, thank you. That's good information for me. Any other questions, Council? Any comments? Seeing none, ladies, I think we're going to call for a motion.
Thank you.
So if we'd like
Mayor,
to have a motion to... Yes, ma'am.
Was there any public comment, or we want to
yes.
close that?
Yeah, I didn't have a card for you, John. Do you want to come up and speak? I'm sorry.
John Johnson, for the record, 4265 Village Hill Street, Las Vegas, Nevada. Actually, I didn't even know this was on the agenda. I was going to come talk about something later in the portion. But actually, this is a very good topic. This is something that actually me and you, Councilman Black, had a conversation about when it came to the Choice Neighborhood. These programs, the CBD funds and everything, these are great sources to actually improve your community when it comes to social programs. But how you use your money and what programs and who you partner with to deliver services matters. You know, just because they're getting money don't mean they have the best interest of the people. I remember a couple months ago, it was a veteran that came in here and talked about a nonprofit that he was personally attending and the horror stories that he was talking about while receiving those services. So once again, I want to come and make sure that you guys are keeping oversight of not just where the money is going, but how the services are being rendered. You know, people need help, and they want to be talked to with dignity and respect. They don't want to come to a program and just because they need help, they want to get talked to disrespectful or feel like because they're asking for help, they're less than. You know, this money is very effective if used correctly, and you can actually see progress. I come from Hayward. Hayward has used this program successfully to create change that we can see. At some of our elementary schools, we have Wi-Fi on our schools, so therefore the community can get free Wi-Fi because if a kid goes home, my son right now, he has to come home. There's reports, there's things that he has to do on his computer. If we don't have Wi-Fi for that, he can't do that. So Hayward was able to do those type of things with the CBDG fund, and before it was Choice, it was Obama's Promised Neighborhood. That was one of the first grants that was received. So once again, I want to be mindful about, you know, the program, and I am going to be that watchdog, and I am going to be continually, you know, monitoring this money and making sure it is effective, because I know residents here in Las Vegas that can use those type of services. There's daycare services. There's people who can't get daycare because they're not on welfare, but they're working, but yet they miss that, you know, quota. So this is the type of things that we can use in our programs to help those people who are trying to, you know, maintain jobs but don't have child care or whatever the case may be. So once again, I want you guys to monitor, you know, who are getting these services. Are we getting a bang for our buck, and are we actually moving the needle to where our community is feeling the change? Thank you.
Thank you, John. I think I'll ask Lorena to come up and just follow up on that. He brings a good point up. Are we monitoring this throughout the whole process?
Yes, we monitor all the sub-recipient providers every year, and actually we're just going through monitoring all our CDBG programs at this time. We also do a financial monitoring, and we keep monthly reports that, you know, once they apply, they get vetted for eligibility, and they get monthly reports in the Zoom system.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bouchard, please come forward.
This man's name was John. John, you're 100% right. I mean, my age now, I'm 68 years old. I don't trust the government with any money. And we do need watchdogs on things like this because the money doesn't always go to the right people. So I want to put a plug in for people over 65 like me that are trying to live off of Social Security when my co-pays on my medicine that I need to stay alive can eat up half of my Social Security. I'm in a house that was built 17 years ago to substandard codes. My electric bill in the summertime now is $500 a month. I can't afford that. I can't afford to put new air conditioners in, and that won't even solve the problem because I had an energy thing done. They said, listen, your insulation is all bad. You got to re-insulate, and you need all new windows. Anderson Windows want $35,000 for windows. Now, my question is, are we going to be able to get any of this money to help retired people on Social Security to bring their houses up to energy code? So I'd like to put in a plug for the retired people of this committee because I want to tell you something. The retired people in this committee are America's new poor.
Okay, thank you. Well, Lorena, could you come up and answer that question?
Mayor, to answer that question, in the NERSA designated area, we have some senior programs already identified to assist with the digital divide, to provide Wi-Fi, and also rehab for some of the housing. As far as like the citywide, we have to set those priorities as objectives, and I believe in the consolidated plan, we are addressing seniors and youth. So they are being looked at as priorities.
Thank you. Mr. Burchard, maybe after this meeting you could meet with her. Okay. Thank you very much. Anyone else who would like to address the council on item 16, please come forwards. If I see no one, we are going to close the public comment. And we'll call for motion to accept the public comment and the consolidated plan, if I can get a motion for that.
Mayor, again, I think this is a fantastic thing that now the money will no longer be going through another entity, but with us. It's more more of a opportunity for self-determination. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve, unless one of my colleagues would like to say something else.
I think that's it. We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Item 17, discussion and/or action regarding the city's delinquent utility accounts. Adopt the delinquent accounts report and authorize staff to file adopted report with the Board of County Commissioners.
Mr. Duvall, do you have anything you want to add to this, or? I'm sorry to bring you up. I didn't know if you'd prepared for this or not.
Mayor, members of council, I'm Randy Duvall, Utilities Director. When in the last legislative session, AB 8 was passed, which gives cities like the city of North Las Vegas the same rights as water districts like the Las Vegas Valley Water District to issue tax liens on unpaid water utility bills. This is our first foray into doing that since the legislation was passed, and we have identified 6 potential customers whom we actually served public notice that we were going to go for a tax lien. Of those, 2 have already paid, so that there's 4 remaining. And our recommendation is that I'm not sure if anybody else will be just talking or not, but our recommendation is that we go forward with the tax liens.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments or questions on this here? We have Mr. Gary Burchard. Would you like to please come forward? This is one of the items that you can speak on here.
Well, yeah, but this may be a little unrelated. I just found out recently that El Dorado is not paying their water bill on their common area. Apparently, they got a cushy deal for some reason. And so don't they owe the city a ton of money?
No.
Okay.
But if you bring us information.
I'm like Trump. Maybe I was misinformed.
Yeah.
I apologize when I'm wrong. Trump doesn't have to apologize because he's never wrong.
I guess before we make a motion, we have a wonderful young woman out in the audience who's, I think, chairman of the committee maybe that this went through, Councilman Assemblywoman Bustamante. Thank you so much for all you did at the legislature to help us with these issues in local governments, and for City Manager Juden for working on this issue. What you could do in the past is you could pay your water bill but not pay the sewer side of it, and we couldn't lien you. So if you didn't pay your water bill, we could lien your house for the water bill. But the sewer is left uncovered. So Director Duvall went to wrote up some legislation for this. Ryan had this passed the legislature, so now we can collect people who are using our water and paying for it, but not paying for the sewer. We can now lien their properties equally like the water. So that's what happened here. So anyway, if there's no other questions, I'd call for a motion to adopt the delinquent accounts report.
Move to approve.
You have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved. Moving on to business.
Item 18, approve software implementation agreement with New Brain LLC for board software implementation services and travel expenses in an amount not to exceed $199,736 using the competitive bidding exception per NRS 332 Local Government Purchasing Act, CIP project number 230535.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments or questions on this item? If not, the chair will take a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Item 19, approve customer license agreement for bond software with New Brain LLC in a total amount not to exceed $217,632, $163,224 the first year, and $54,408 for the 2 additional 1-year renewal options for the purchase of board software licenses and board maintenance and support, using the competitive bidding exception per NRS 332 Local Government Purchasing Act, CIP project number 23035.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments or questions on this item? If not, the chair will take a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Item 20, receive presentation by Nevada Workforce Connections regarding the one-stop career centers in partnership with the North Las Vegas Library District.
Thank you. Thank you, Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, Forrest Lewis, Library Director. It's my pleasure tonight to introduce, I'm sure you all know Irene Bustamante Adams. We have Carol Polk over here with the Workforce Connections. They're going to provide a brief presentation on our one-stop career centers that we have in the library and talk a little bit about our official grand opening that we're going to have on June 11th.
Welcome, Ms. Assemblywoman Bustamante.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. For the record, Irene Bustamante Adams. I know that some of you know me from a previous role that will be ending in November. However, I'm super excited about my new role in workforce development and in the ecosystem, and it's to be the Chief Strategy Officer for Workforce Connection, which is the Southern Region Local Workforce Board. And so last year, our previous and former director, Ardell Galbraith, and Jaime Cruz came before you and presented the concept of the One-Stop Career Center. And that was for your constituents to be able to have one location to be able to go and access the different workforce funding streams and the services under one umbrella. In addition, they mentioned a partnership that they were considering to partner with the libraries because we serve some of the same customers, your constituents. And so that did happen, and I'm here to provide the update. This last fall, we did a soft opening at your Alexander Library, which is in Councilwoman Goes Brown's ward. And we are ready to do the grand opening ribbon cutting coming up on Monday, June 11th at 10 a.m. The invitation from your staff is forthcoming. And really for your constituents and your residents, this is what you can tell them, that they can access job search assistance, career readiness workshops, career pathway planning, job training, paid work experience, and a host of other services. And in addition, who are they going to serve? It serves any adults of any age, youth from 16 to 24, veterans, laid-off workers, your reentry population, people looking to change a career, workers with disabilities. And so what we're doing is bringing those resources to your communities so that your constituents don't have to travel far to access the available funds and the resources. And so I just want to say thank you, Mayor. your leadership team under Mr. Lewis and his staff have made it a seamless process for us to work with. Not only have you removed barriers for businesses to do work with you, but you have made partnerships like this easy to form. So I want to say thank you. And in addition, we are so grateful that you appointed Councilman Black to serve on our local workforce board. The pot of money that we have is about $25 million, but the pot of money in the entire workforce ecosystem is about $140 million. And so he is an added value and a voice for North Las Vegas and for this body, and so for that we're eternally grateful. And a reminder, the ribbon cutting is on June 11th. It's on Monday, and the invitations are forthcoming.
Thank you. Council, any comments or questions to Ms. Bustamante Adams? Scott?
I'd like to make a comment. I had the privilege of attending the National Association of Workforce Boards in Washington, D.C. a few months back. Ms. Bustamante Adams was there along with a few other folks from Workforce Connections and the board. And you might think that it's pretty logical to put these centers in libraries, and that is the case. However, we're very unique in the fact that we're the only region in the country, to my knowledge, that has stepped forward and made these alliances and partnerships. Our team had the opportunity to present at this National Workforce Board Conference. We were really a showcase and a leader and someone that a lot of agencies around the country has looked to for guidance and the ability to implement this great concept. So hats off to our local workforce board.
Thank you. Councilman Barone.
Yeah, actually I have a question for Director Lewis. And, of course, it's always a pleasure to see my good friend, Assemblywoman Bustamante. Apparently, great minds do think alike because, you know, got to put it out there. Hey, Director Lewis, thank you very much again, and thank you very much, of course, for working with an outstanding partner in the community there. Just real fast, I could be wrong, but also we're planning on having something very similar with our downtown branch. After it's constructed at the Canyon Electric Building. Isn't that correct?
That is correct. Thanks, Councilman. We have actually we have a planned rollout. Our next library, our Aliante library, is going to have a one-stop career center there. And when the plans that we have for the new downtown library, we actually have space built in there for the one-stop career center. So we definitely will have that partnership at all three libraries by the time that is built. So we're very excited about that.
Mayor, I'm so ecstatic over this. Not that long, well, actually a couple years ago, I had the fortune of meeting some of the new owners that reconstructed an apartment complex that is receiving funds for some of our low-income residents. It's a family setting, not so far away from the Corridor of Hope there. And as I was going through, I just mentioned that, I mentioned to the new owners, I'm very happy that they actually invested in making a new clubhouse, kind of like for their apartment complex. And I asked them, hey, so what are the plans for putting in Wi-Fi? And they looked at each other. They hadn't even thought of it, right? And I said, well, I need to demonstrate something to you. And there were some children. You could tell they were obviously middle school age kids. And they had their candies with them. I called them over, and of course they come over. I'm happy they weren't sensing any stranger danger with these three adults calling them over. And I introduced myself, and it turns out they were kids from J.D. Smith Middle School selling candy to support their band program. And I introduced them they happened to live in that apartment complex. I introduced them to the new owners. And they were very happy to meet them. And so I asked the children to please express what their access to the internet and to Wi-Fi, as our very good friend John Johnson pointed out. And all of them, they said that, of course, they didn't have access. One thing that maybe a lot of people take for granted, there's a lot of our residents who their families have not crossed the digital divide. And of course, in the future, more and more, what separates people who have access to education and to opportunities will be access, and ability to use resources on the internet. These guys, they pulled out their notebooks and started taking notes. and one of the children testified right there that it was their mother who she was looking for a job, and of course she needed to access public transportation out of the neighborhood just to go to a public library so she could actually access these services. So again, we know that this is a vital need for our community. Not everyone has the access to these things, and I personally, from the bottom of my heart, thank your organization for helping us out. Also, Mr. Director, you're doing a fantastic job. You're one of our warriors on the ground, making things happen for our residents. And if I had my hat, it'd be definitely tipped off to you. And of course, Ms. Bustamante, if you'd be so kind as to relay my sincere gratitude to your organization, I would really appreciate it. And of course, my very good friend, Councilman Black, for being our voice on our board.
Thank you. Maybe a compliment's due to you. I want to thank you so much for your years in the legislature. I was a senator when you came in to our assembly, and you were well known to a lot of people before we became friends. And your last name was not as familiar as your first name was to me, because we would be in caucuses. We would say, well, what does Irene think about this? And of course, then you became a chairman, and then your last name became very, very important. But because I knew you as a freshman working so hard, you were always just my friend Irene, But Ms. Bustamante Adams, you were a great legislator. I know you had not running for re-election. That's a choice you made for your family, that your children are such an age. But you'll always be Irene to the city of North Las Vegas. You represent us. I looked at your voting record. You always supported the good issues in North Las Vegas. You always allowed our lobbyists to come in, and you listened to both sides of the subject and appropriately directed the committee, to move legislation through your committee. And very powerful as you ended your career in that position. So I want to thank you, Irene, my friend, and let you know we appreciate you staying active in our community, and we're here to support you now. So thank you very much. Would you like to finish up with anything?
Just thank you. I appreciate mentioning that. It's been great to be a little part of serving the state, and now I'm just super excited that I get to put boots in the ground and actually do more of the implementation. So thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you very much. And we need no motion for this presentation here. So moving on.
Item 21, approve allocation of Home Investment Partnerships Program and Low Income Housing Trust Fund grant funds to Nevada Hand, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $700,000 for eligible hard and soft development costs associated with the construction of North 5th Street, 176 units, apartments in North Las Vegas, and authorize the city manager or his designee to negotiate, execute, and amend appropriate agreements for approved program activity as required.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments or questions on this? Out of not, the chair will take a motion.
Mayor, I'll be happy to make a motion to approve item 21.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Item 22, approve maintenance and support agreement with Motorola Solutions, Inc. for a 10-year term in the amount of $285,638.59 for the first year, with a 3% price increase built in every year thereafter, in a total amount not to exceed $3,555,635.40 for upgrading the Police Department's Motorola Applications Core Suites, Premier Computer-Aided Dispatch System, Premier Mobile Data Computing Server, and Net Records Management System.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments or questions on this item? If not, the chair will take a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Item 23, award bid number 1512 and approve construction contract with Meadow Valley Contractors, Inc., Deep, doing business as ACC Southwest, in the total amount of $5,283,780, $563,779 funded by the Utility Enterprise Fund, and then $2,606,489 funded by Special Improvement District number 65, and $2,113,512 funded by the Economic Development Administration for the Northeast Intercept Project Phase 2, CIP project number S0003.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments or questions on this item? If not, the chair will take a motion.
Mayor, before I make a motion to approve, I'd like just to point out how happy I am that Meadow Valley Contractors actually won this bid. I'm very happy to say that they are a North Las Vegas based company, actually based in Ward 1. Lately, the projects they've been doing have been coming in on time and under budget. And I really look forward for them to do the same with this one. If they're listening, I'm very happy that you got this project, and we'll hold you to that one too. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Thank you. We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Item 24, approve facility relocation agreement with NV Energy in amount not to exceed $142,357 from the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada Fuel Indexing Funds for the relocation of transmission poles for the Tropical Parkway, Hollywood Boulevard, Nico Way to I-15 project. CIP project number 10412.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments or questions on this? If not, the chair will take a motion.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Note for the viewing audience, item 25 was withdrawn by the applicant. Item 26, award bid number 1530 and approve construction contract with Las Vegas Paving Corporation in a total amount of $9,789,090. $2,460,483 from the Clark County Regional Flood Control District Fund, $999,808 from the Utilities Enterprise Fund, and $5,521,781 from the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada Fuel Revenue Indexing Fund, and $807,018 from the Special Improvement District Number 65 Fund for the Tropical Parkway, Hollywood Boulevard, Nico Way to I-15 improvements. CIP project number 10412.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments or questions on this? If not, the chair will take a motion.
Mayor, I guess I was a little bit remiss in, on the previous the item before this to thank Nevada Energy for working with our staff to make that relocation possible. This item, of course, is extremely important. We're talking about again something that's going to be opening up an entire portion to development of our and lead not just North Las Vegas but the entire valley for growth in the next decade. Hopefully, some of the young people here who are sitting in the audience, they may not realize this, but perhaps one of them, their employment might actually be tied to this project that we're opening up. Fantastic new development that's opening up here on the other side of the Speedway. There's several thousand jobs that are opening up, and I'm hoping that some of you will be getting the education necessary to be able to make a living for yourselves and for your families in the future. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Thank you very much. We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Item 27, approve interlocal agreement with the cities of Henderson and Las Vegas, Clark County Regional Flood Control District, Clark County Water Reclamation District, and Southern Nevada Water Authority to establish funding allocations and the budget in the amount of $1,071,545 for Las Vegas watch activities for fiscal year 2018-2019. The city of North Las Vegas shall be responsible for $26,737, $1,715.90 from the Utility Enterprise Fund Water, and $8,021.10 from the Utility Enterprise Fund Sewer.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments or questions? If not, the chair will take a motion.
I'd like to move to approve.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved. Before we go on to the next item 28, do your students want to continue here? Or do you want to? Are you feeling like you're stuck in that chair and you want to leave now, or you're welcome to leave if you feel like you've seen enough city council? But we're going to continue on. But you won't be rude to us if you have to get ready for school tomorrow. Is our point, okay? So
we're almost done.
Item
to you all.
28. I just want to let
It's up to you
know.
guys. And thank you again for coming.
Yeah.
Item 28, approve waterworks purchase agreement with Ferguson Enterprises, Inc. in a total amount not to exceed $280,000, $70,000 for a one-year term with 3 one-year renewal options to purchase fire hydrant parts for the Utilities Department.
Thank you, Councilor. Any comments or questions on this? If not, the chair will take a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Item 29, pass and adopt resolution number 2608, intent of the City Council of the City of North Las Vegas, Nevada, proposing the issuance of and authorizing the publication of notices related to general obligation limited tax water bonds additionally secured by pledged revenues, Series 2018D, in the maximum principal amount of $23,700,000 for the purchase of financing water projects for the city, providing the manner, form, and contents of the notice thereof, providing other matters properly related thereto, and providing the effective date hereof.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments or questions on this item? If not, the chair will take a motion.
Mayor, I'll be happy to make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. It passes. Investment grade feels so good. We're finally going to get bonds for a good price. Thank you, Councilman Churchill, for that motion.
Item 30, pass and adopt resolution number 2609, permitting the donation of city-owned ladder truck.
Councilman Barone.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. It turns out I was informed by our fire chief that apparently our city has had a bit of a relationship with one of our neighbors to the south. We've been opening up some dialogue, and we're on the verge of actually having a couple of sister-city relationships. One with Bahia de Banderas there, the city that right next to Puerto Vallarta, and possibly also a sister-cityship with Mérida in Yucatan. We've got the East Coast and the West Coast, or however you want to look at it. But apparently, we also have some other friends in the great Mexican state of Michoacan, one of the agricultural centers, for Mexico. It is thought that corn that was originally cultivated in this valley, in one of the valleys there in Michoacan, about 5,000 years ago. It's also the home to the monarch butterfly. They winter there. That's their permanent home, and they pass through here. And I'm very happy to say that our fire department will be donating one of our, I wanted to say gently used, but I guess there's no such thing as gently used, fire equipment, right? Well-used fire equipment, very well taken care of fire equipment to the volunteer firefighters there in Uruapan, Michoacan. I know that, Mayor, sometimes, there's talk of a wall dividing our two great countries. Not everyone is in agreement. We're looking to remain good friends and good neighbors with our friends to the south, and I'm very happy that this is an item for discussion. And I beg that my colleagues here on the City Council and yourself do see fit for this generosity, and again extending a hand to our neighbors to the south. Again, we're three countries joined together, Canada, Mexico, and the United States, into the most vibrant part, I think, of the world. And this is just another example of the generosity of the people here of North Las Vegas, and extending a hand to people who are a little bit less fortunate than us. And when it's time, I think we will be contacting our representatives from the official government of Mexico, and seeing this fire truck be sent off to the south. I guess they're going to drive it south. I don't think I would do that, but they're going to do it. So I'd be very happy to see them off when it happens. I think I've said enough.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? If not, the chair will take a motion.
I think that was my motion to approve, too.
I got it. We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved. Oh, yeah. Moving on to ordinances, final action.
Ordinances listed under final action were introduced at a previous council meeting for action at this meeting, but may include emergency ordinances. Item 31, pass and adopt ordinance number 2877, amending section 010 of chapter 16 of title 17 of the municipal code by reclassifying approximately 19.49 plus or minus acres therein from an R1 single-family low-density district to a PSP, public semi-public district, ZN 0518, J.D. Smith Middle School, for property located at 1301 East Tonopah Avenue and providing for other matters properly related thereto.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the school district for working with Councilman Barone on the J.D. Smith Middle School property to get the right amenities. They're also working with us on a piece of property they have in the center of town that's going to move our community into a new vision for downtown. It's been a great relationship we have with these two. And this is just the land portion right here. I know you're still going to follow up, I think, with the amenities. Is that correct?
Yeah, Mayor. I'm pretty sure we have everything just about worked out with that, right? So I'm very happy to say that we can move forward. And you're absolutely right. You know, I'm a Clark County School District employee, as our wonderful colleague to your right, Pamela Goins-Brown. Her father, of course, is a legendary principal for the school district. Has a school named after him. And, I'm very happy to say that we're going to forge a new partnership and a stronger partnership with the Clark County School District to benefit all of the children here of the city of North Las Vegas. If you needed a motion, I'd be happy to carry it forward as well. But for the record, as you said, yes, I think we have everything set to be moving forward.
Thank you. I appreciate you and Councilwoman Goins-Brown going over and talking to the school board and letting them understand our needs as we understand their needs. It was a very favorable response, and I think things are looking good for both organizations. So with that, is there anybody else who would like to speak on this issue? If not, I think that was a motion. So please cast your vote. Items approved.
Item 32, pass and adopt ordinance number 2883, amending section 010 of chapter 16 of title 17 of the municipal code by reclassing approximately 4.93 plus or minus acres therein from an RE Ranch Estates district to an RCL single family compact lot residential district, ZN 0618, La Madre Manor, for property generally located at the southeast corner of La Madre Way and Commerce Street, and providing for other matters properly related thereto.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments, questions this item? If not, the chair will take a motion.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to pass and adopt this. This is, of course, with the associate item number 15.
Thank you. We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Moving on
to appointments. I was just
Item
writing
30.
myself some notes here. Okay.
Item 33, appointment by Mayor Pro Tempore Churchill of a citizen member to the Library District Board of Trustees to fill an unexpired term ending June 30, 2019.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to continue this appointment for at least one council meeting so we could have further discussion on it amongst the council.
Thank you. We have a motion to hold this for the next council meeting. Councilman Churchill, that's a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Item 34, appoint an at-large citizen member to the Veterans Community Commission to fill an unexpired term ending June 30, 2021.
Thank you. With this also, we're going to make a motion to continue this item to the June 6th meeting. That will be the motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
So item 35, appointment by Councilwoman Goins-Brown of a citizen member to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board to fill an unexpired term ending June 30, 2019.
Councilwoman.
I'd like to recommend Mr. Thomas Preston. He's a small business owner here in the Valley of Blue On window cleaning service. And he emailed me a little while ago just to say he's eager to get started, so he's very appreciative. And he also has been attended our Choice Community Engagement meeting last time, and that's how I connected with him. And he's very, very optimistic and ready to get to work.
Thank you. We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved. Moving on to city manager's report.
Mayor and Council, tonight Jeff Albert's who's our, as you all know, our honorary historian. He's going to talk briefly about the fourth mayor, the Honorable Earl Webb, and then I have a couple items after that. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Albert, before you start, I want to thank you so much for what you did for the students in our valley and the 5 high schools. And I think you've started something that will outlast you if we do this right. That kindness of you generating some of your own personal money to some of the star students at each of the high schools is going to bring great rewards to the students of the future. Maybe in the future we'll be able to go higher or have more students win the Alpert Award. But anyway, I just
it was my
want
pleasure,
to thank you for that.
And I thank you for also supporting it with some of your own funds. For the record, Jeff Alpert, North Las Vegas resident, and each month I try to give a historical report for us to be educated about our past. I've this year given presentation on the first 3 mayors of North Las Vegas. Today I'm going to be discussing mayor number 4, Earl Webb. If we can get the overhead on. I have some photos of him. There is an E. Webb Avenue not far from here, named for the mayor. This was a picture when he was young and running for city council, and he becomes our 4th mayor. If you can make it a little larger, we'll go down some topics. So he's a sitting councilman and a 2-year term, and in April 1953 he decides to throw his hat in the ring to run against Mayor Ken Reynolds, the current mayor, and he campaigns, and in May 1953 he defeats the mayor by a vote of 548 to 505. So as the new 4th mayor of North Las Vegas, he's facing many problems in the city. Our city has no sewer system. Almost all the homes are using septic tanks. The water system is not meeting the needs of the residents. The homes, most of our homes were built when there were no fire codes, so there was an issue with that. And then also our town was known for having too many bars and brothels. One of the first things he does by the summer of his first year, he shakes up the duties of the city council. Back in those days, it was interpreted from the city charter that the mayor had the right to tell the council people what departments they would oversee, and they were actually serving like directors. So at the meeting in August, he shook everything up and accused them of being too lax in their duties and gave them reassignments. And unbelievable as it was, the entire city council gets up and walks out, leaving him there alone. So he apologizes, he reverses the decision, and he lets them go back to the duties that they were enjoying. Later that year, in December 1953, there was a major, major city scandal. The city building inspector went to a project that was occurring for a new housing development, and there were some homes that were built without being inspected properly, and apparently the city inspector got the word from the mayor and some of the council members that he should go to the developer and try to get a bribe out of him to look the other way. Otherwise, they would have to tear down 4 homes they built because they weren't inspected before building or as they were being built. So the city inspector asked the developer for $600 plus $100 for his troubles as a middleman. So it hits the news, and the mayor, 3 male city councilmen, there was 1 female, our first female, Dorothy Porter, was on the city council, but they kept her out of it. I guess feeling she was a woman, they didn't want to trust her, they didn't feel they can confide in her. So the mayor, 3 city councilmen, and the building inspector, along with the motel owner that was accused of perjury when he was interviewed by the district attorney, they're all put up on felony charges that could result in 10 years in prison. So there's an actual trial in April 1954 resulting in a hung jury. They had a lot of evidence, so it's pretty surprising that the jury couldn't convict. The district attorney went ahead and decided to retry the case, so there was another trial a few months later in the summer of 54, and they actually were acquitted. Their defense, according to, so I can show this for a second, this is how the news hit the news, the RJ, about the indictment, And that was for their first trial. And this shows all the participants, the mayor and the council members, as they were conferring with their attorneys on how they were going to fight the charges. But basically, they were saying that the city building inspector could not do anything on behalf of the council. He had no right to solicit the bribe. They denied it. So what they did is they fired the building inspector, and they went on and had the second trial, and they were actually acquitted. So the public was not happy. North Las Vegas residents were quite upset with this acquittal, and they put enormous pressure on the mayor and the three male city council people to resign. Enormous pressure. It was in the newspaper constantly, and the public was speaking out about it. And eventually, over the summer, they were all putting it off. They were resisting, but three of the council members, the mayor would not resign, but the three councilmen resigned one at a time in turn, and every time they resigned, the remaining ones appointed a replacement. So gradually, over a 2-month period, the mayor's still there, but now we have three new male city council people along with Councilwoman Dorothy Porter. But then another scandal develops. The mayor wasn't having enough problems. In September of 1954, that time period, he has a truck, a used GMC truck. He goes to an auto dealer who trades the truck for another used truck. The truck the mayor traded in all of a sudden appears in the city water department. It's using the truck. It bought it. There are 3 payments made to the auto dealer who turned the mayor's truck over to the city. So this whole scandal was that the mayor was involved in this transaction. He got an upgraded truck in turn for getting this truck to the city without paying any additional cost. And the city made these payments. There were no approvals. The city council did not vote on it. So there was more enormous pressure on the mayor to resign. Finally, Mayor Webb agrees to resign later in the month, September 54. He hands in his resignation letter. He goes up to Mount Charleston, where he's building a cabin to get away from all the pressure. And then the city council does not accept his resignation because they discovered back in those days the mayor had not signed the payroll checks. Back in those days, the mayor had to sign everybody's check or you didn't get paid. So they send the police chief in a police car with the payroll up to Mount Charleston to get the mayor to sign, and then he comes back and they say, okay, we can now accept your resignation. With Dorothy Porter being the only clean person on the city council from this whole scandalous period of time, she was the mayor pro tem, and they were happy to select her as the first female mayor. She'll be mayor number 5 in my next report, and she takes over. So Mayor Webb lasted 15 months, had a very tumultuous administration, but he did accomplish things. There were things accomplished. In 1953, what happened was there was lots of discussions going on for getting us a high school. We had no high school. And what the city did under Mayor Webb is they went to Union Pacific Railroad to get them to consider turning over 40 acres to the school district on the land they purchased from Helen Stewart way back in the early 1900s. And that's how we get to Rancho High School the next year in 1954. There was also a subdivision fee proposal where we hear all these proposals coming into city council these days. Back in those days, they didn't have to pay any fees. They started to get them to pay $25 for their submission plus so many dollars per lot in their proposals. The police department got to purchase a second motorcycle. The Planning Commission was established in 1953. There was a petty cash fund created with $100, and it could be used for purchases of $5 or less. There wouldn't have to be a city vote on it. The police got a 10% raise, and there was the start of talking about installation of gas mains in our city. The next year, in 1954, employees were beginning to complain about using their own car. The city didn't have many vehicles, so the city council approved them. If you used your own car to do city business, you got $1.50 per day. The Recreation Board was created. Additional police cars were rented. The city had 2 at the time, but Main Street was growing. More and more businesses were opening on Main Street, and they asked for nighttime patrol to protect their stores. So the city rented 3 more vehicles to be used as patrol cars, $95 a month to rent them, and they also have to pay 3 cents per mile they traveled. There were bids for a new city hall, so a new city hall is coming. It's right around the corner. Employee group insurance was discussed, a new idea, and an official city map was introduced and accepted by the city council. And finally, the first city manager was appointed at a salary of $500 a month, but he also had to do the city clerk job. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Now, the rule is when it gets up to me, we just don't do me, okay? I heard no controversy already. Oh, no, Gary, you can do me, Gary. You can come up and tell me how great I am. So, interesting. Moving on to public forum. Now is the time for the public to speak on issues not posted on the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, City Manager, I'm sorry.
That's fine. I know it's a tough act to follow with our historian. So just a couple items. I was informed by our city attorney that her husband's watching this tonight. So I don't know why Bobby would be watching this tonight, especially with the Golden Knights game on, which they're up 3-1, if anyone wants to ask. So
Who's watching?
Her husband, Bobby.
Oh, that handsome guy. Okay.
Yeah, bored handsome guy. So a couple things I just wanted to, and he's watching the Knights game apparently too, so he's excited about that. So just a couple items I wanted to bring up to the listening public's attention is, as you know, when we had the announcement on the Amazon building, that's a 2.4 million square foot fulfillment center, and I just want to kind of give some kudos to Valerie Evans and her team for their quick action on doing that. That's something that they were able to turn around the reviews, the major reviews on that building in less than 30 days, actually 28 days to be exact. That's really record time. And it's that kind of service that's really what's changing North Las Vegas. One of the things that we knew we needed to do in North Las Vegas, and we started working on this very diligently 5 years ago, was start to transform the way that the city's being developed, because the realities of how our funding comes from the state is that it's essentially assessed value is one very important portion of that. And prior to that, just to give you an example, is in 2010, the ratio of new residential versus new commercial that was being permitted in 2010 was about 9-1. That was the ratio. And what you have there is a ratio that doesn't have a extremely high assessed value, which then penalizes us once we start getting the state revenues. In comparison, our ratio now is 2-3. So we've gone from 9-1 to 2-3. And if you want to, in dollar terms, it's about $373 million in 2017. And if you look back to 2010, that's over 4 times the amount that was being done in 2010. So we're seeing this kind of dramatic diversification of our tax base, which we're already starting to see some of the examples of how this is helping us grow as a city, but we're excited for this. Another item that will be brought before the July 18th council meeting is parking services. This is something that we discussed back in, we started first discussing it in November 13, had several meetings when we were doing shared services with the city of Las Vegas. And this was something that was contemplated at the time to bring into the city of North Las Vegas, because a lot of our neighborhoods, if you look through CityTrack, and a lot of the complaints that we receive from residents are in regards to parking. And quite frankly, our police department has had higher priority things that they've had to work on, and illegally parked cars or cars on blocks, which present not just a blight to the community, but a hazard to kids as they fish soccer balls out from underneath them or whatnot. What we've seen is we've seen an issue there. So we tried to address this early on with the city of Las Vegas. And if you recall at the time when we went into discussions with them, there was the belief, and it was in a public conversation, that city of Las Vegas could cover our parking services, and then there would be a split where we would do a 70-30 split, which was discussed on the fees and things that are generated. When that came back to the Shared Service Committee before it came to the City Council, that had changed to a 50-50 split. And that was something at that time that was just kind of not attainable, and something that we didn't believe was good policy, because we would, in many ways, the City of Las Vegas employees would be the ones that would be enforcing parking services. And we wouldn't have a whole lot of oversight over that, and we didn't want this to be something that was a revenue generator on the back of our residents. What we really wanted it to be is something that was a community enhancer. And so one of the things that we've been working on in the past few months is looking at bringing this parking services into the City of North Las Vegas, our own, not having it outsourced to someone else. And we will be bringing a presentation before council in the second meeting in July of what parking services will look like. We're working currently on bringing on a director of this parking services. We are going to organize this department different. We're not organizing it underneath the police department as an enforcement mechanism. We're organizing it under economic development to really focus and make sure the emphasis on the ability for this service to enhance the valuation of our neighborhoods and our properties. So we'll have a more in-depth conversation on this, but I just wanted to make you all and the public aware that this is a conversation that we'll be having, and I think staff is excited to bring this service to our community. Thank you.
It's been exciting to see you working and negotiating this. I can't wait to see the final product. Was that the end of your report, sir? Yes, it was.
Yes, sir, it was.
Great. Moving on to public forum. Now is the time to speak on issues not posted on the agenda. And we can't respond to you. We'll take no action tonight, but we do appreciate you coming. Mr. Bouchard.
Okay, there's an online news thing called the Nevada Independent, and for the last 3 months, they've been running a lot of negative stories about North Las Vegas criticizing their government, and this is one of them. And in this article, you can get the camera one on this, please. They are insinuating that we have a puppet city council that's afraid not to vote along the lines of the mayor. And they're making statements that since Anita Woods is no longer on the city council, even Mr. Churchio is afraid to say no to the mayor. And they're showing a photoshopped picture here of the city councilmen as Muppets. And I don't know what this bird is sitting on the mayor's shoulder. Could you zoom in on this a little bit? I have no idea who that's supposed to be. But while I agree with their newspaper, that's not their job. That's my job. And I'm going to be calling down there tomorrow morning and give them a piece of my mind.
You can be the bird, Gary.
Anyway, moving right along. The bird's the cutest one up there. I'm glad you're smiling. Anyway, I was out of town when you guys decided to make Ryan Juden our new city manager. As you remember, the citizens that were down here that night when all this stuff came down, the citizens wanted a nationwide search. The union said, no, we want Ryan. We love Ryan. The police unions love him. The fire departments love him. The Teamsters want to adopt him. Okay, so once again, this city council is bowing to the needs of the union. So I have a problem with that. And I have a few questions. My first question is, and honestly, God, I hate doing this because Ryan and I have never been getting along better in the last 6 years. We're
We won't
so
be able
well
to
now.
we will not respond to those questions. We'll hear
Which
the
question?
questions.
Okay, well, I don't respond. Just think about this. How in the world, without doing a nationwide search, can we possibly know there isn't anybody better than Ryan? And I'm not saying Ryan's bad. I happen to like Ryan. He goes to the same church I do. We're getting along great now. So, I don't really like having to be the bad guy all the time. But, this is what I would like to hear from Scott, Richard, Pamela, and Isaac. How did we know he was the best one in the country without checking it out? Oh, I got 23 seconds. What do you want to talk
We
about?
thought we approved it, and that's why you went on vacation. Everything was well in the city.
I wasn't on vacation. I was visiting my sick brother.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, have a good night. Thanks for not arresting me.
Mr.
See you all in 2 weeks.
Louis Solo? Mr. Solo, are you here? And Soto, Mr. Soto, I'm sorry. Maybe Mr. Soto left. Okay. John, I see you're sitting near the front. Would you like to come up? We need to have you fill out a blue card in the future, though, okay?
John Johnson, 4265 Village Hill Street, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89147. 89147. First off, I actually like the mayor. I think he's a great guy. Council's a great person. Ryan, I love you. You know, so I think this city council. I live, like I said, I live in Las Vegas. I hate that council. I hate the county commissioner. I'm actually going. I'm sorry, I don't like them. I'm sorry. This is the best municipality. They're very open. Like I said, I can call any one of the city council. In fact, call Ryan. He set up a meeting. So from my experience, I'm actually jumping ship. And next year, we're going to be moving to North Las Vegas, hopefully in Councilman Barone's district. So I like the way this council is moving. I like the direction that it's moving in, and I'm very excited to be part of the direction. But that's actually not why I came up here. I came up here for this. If you could turn on the video. So a friend of mine, she was actually here. She had to go. She was actually going to speak, so I'm going to speak on her behalf. Her name is Evelyn Pacheco. She actually is the first female licensed plumber here in the state of Nevada. I believe it was 1996. I'm not going to lie and try to give you her resume. But anyway, she is a retired plumbers and pipe fitters now. What she decided to do is she wanted to do a career fair. They're having this career fair July 7th at Plumbers and Pipe Fitters at their union hall. It's open to everybody. It's a way to come out and learn about how to become not only a plumber, but they're working with other trades, you know, laborers, construction, carpenters, painters. They're going to come all together and talk to people on how to become a union person, how to actually get on the list to be an apprenticeship or, you know, whatever it is that it takes. I'm not familiar with it. But I know there is a process. I know one of the biggest things is education. I know a lot of them want you to have a high school diploma or a GED. So what I decided to do, partnering with her through the nonprofit, is we're going to provide some of those trainings and services so when they come and they need a birth certificate or they need ID or they need a social security card or they need their high school diploma, we can work with them to get them the services so that for when it opens up, because it's only once a year. So let's just say in December it opens up. So we can get them ready so when December comes, they will be ready to go and, you know, apply to get the apprenticeship. Another thing that I was talking with her about is maybe doing a rolling a rolling career fair, and that's where you guys come in, and maybe you guys will want to host a trade union job fair, you know, coming up later on this year or something like that, because this is my favorite municipality, and I like bringing things to you guys because you guys actually act. So thank you for that, and I will be contacting you guys individually about this resource fair, or excuse me, union resource fair, and seeing about bringing it to North Las Vegas. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, yes, ma'am. Please come forward. He was saying great things about you.
Here she is.
Are you the journeyman plumber?
Yes, I am. My name is Evelyn Pacheco. I'm retired out of 525 Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union, and I am the first black female to get a plumber's license in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I put myself in the history, too, to make sure that no one could take it away from me, now that I got that position. But I did organize a career fair on how to get information to join the union. It's going to be June 11th at 525 Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Hall, and that's 750 North Lamb. It's going to be 1 to 4, and there's going to be 15 to 20 local unions or building trades. They're going to be there and give you information on how to join a union. He is correct. There's certain times that you can normally join the union, like plumbers and pipe fitters are January and February, and electricians are January, February, and March. Everybody got their own time, but there are going to be some that are going to be there that they are accepting right now every month. I know the iron workers are accepting the tin knockers, sheet metal, excuse me. I call them tin knockers. Sorry. And I know for a fact they are. I think insulators are doing it the same way. I know Teamsters do it every month too. So I was just trying to do something to bring some light to the jobs that are getting ready to hit this town, and how I believe that the locals should be the one to get the jobs versus outstating, outsourcing, and coming from over there or to Florida or you know, I think we should try to do it here, and not to say to put anything against apprentices, but it would be cheaper to have a bunch of apprentices versus having a bunch of journeyman wages. It will save everybody a lot of money.
Thank you. As a former journeyman plumber, master plumber, I can tell you the tin knockers are overpaid. The health and safety of the nation is the plumbing trade, and that's you and I, sister. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you.
Mr. Alpert, and anyone else. Mr. Alpert will be the last speaker unless somebody else needs. So I think you'll be the last speaker, Jeff.
Thank you. Jeff Alpert, 3828 Fusilier Drive, North Las Vegas. I have two items I wanted to address. First, we're coming up on an election, and I serve as Secretary-Treasurer of the North Las Vegas Alliance of Homeowner Associations and Concerned Citizens. Councilman Churchill is one of its founders. And every election cycle, we team up with Sun City Aliante to hold a candidate meet and greet. And I just wanted the public to know that we have an event 1 week from tonight at Sun City Aliante's Community Center. I personally invited over 70 candidates, and we have 40 committed to attend, which is a quite good result. So we have all 5 candidates running for North Las Vegas Constable going to be there in person, and we have candidates from Assembly District, Regents race, Lieutenant Governor, Governor, Secretary of State, Treasurer, et cetera, et cetera. So it's an event that will run from 6 to 8:30 in their Vista room, and I'm hoping people can come and attend and meet some of the candidates, and we're gearing it all towards North Las Vegas residents. Secondly, as a resident of North Las Vegas, on behalf of the city's residents, I would like to thank Jennifer Duty for all that she's done for our city. We wish her the best, and we're going to miss her. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you very much. Last call to come address the council. Seeing no one come, this meeting is adjourned.